Welcome to Verb Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life. We are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Today we're discussing the topic of debt, actually the mystery of debt. And what brought this topic into my scope and view is a friend of mine, Sean Taylor, who I've known over, 25 years. Recently passed the other night, and I'll leave his picture. You know what? His picture will be the one that will be posted for this particular show. And he recently passed, and it got me thinking on death. And then I had another friend who was coming up on an anniversary of her mom's death, and I explained to her, and I got this from the Minister Farrakhan, and I'm not quoting it verbatim, but he said that if you debt, or it's like electricity, you don't see the electricity, but you know it's on because you see the light bulbs or the lights on, and that spirit, that inner being of that person, the flesh which houses the individual, you don't see that flow, that energy, the electricity. You don't see the flow of it, but it's there, housed in a fleshly body. So the mystery of death is, there is actually, the flesh may die, true, but what made up that person continues to live on through generation as it houses itself through its seed, male or female. And it creates a evolution throughout time for a period of time until we evolve into a higher form. But even so, and even if we do evolve into a higher form, there still will be the same substance, whether it's that genetic coding, whether it's the DNA in the blood, the bone tissue, the marrow, organs, still will have the essence of ancestors that came down that line of divine or divinity to the present. Meaning that, meaning that your great grandmother, her mother produced her. She had children which produced, your grandmother, which had children produce your mother. And then your mother had children which produced you. Then you had children which produced them. But that line hasn't been connected, no, because it's still, why do you think they can run your ancestry bloodline back to thousands of years? Because it shares the same genetic coding. So do you truly die when a part of you lives on, and in a later date and time? Do you do you pass away? Say, do you pass away and your son or daughter gave birth that next month, and now you're back on the scene? Could be, but it could not be, because you might don't come back till 500 years from now, 1,000 years from now. As long as man is evolving and we're continuing on a forward march through time, then the essence of you and the likelihood of you returning is there. You have a line to come through. Now, my friend Sean, interestingly he didn't have any children. So by him not having children, does that mean that it stops with him? Can he come through his sisters or one of his siblings' children? I mean, these questions has to be answered, especially we should know this as a race, as a people. These are things that we should automatically know. We should know answers to these things. We should study biology and study cosmology and all the studies, really, all the disciplines. We should know something about. But so, yeah, does he stop with, or can he continue through a sibling? That, be honest with you, I'm not sure. I got to do a little research and find out. Because can you come back only through the line you create, or can you come back through the line of family members? Because now you may have a cousin, and they say, "I mean, y'all look just alike," you know. But is that the same as the seed coming from your loins, or the ovaries coming from the female's womb? Is that the same? I don't have the answer to that right now, and if anybody out there have the answer to that, leave a comment. Okay, so now let's deal with, because we got to touch bases on the racial component of this. Now, let's say here's a black male, right? Black male born on this planet, right? Mother, father, that's why you're going to get down here, right? Goes through life unknowing in elementary school what society has and the ills and the dangers of society, or the mental damage that this society can do to a black mind, right? You all you know is the sun is shining. You feel water on your face when it's raining. You got food in your belly. You watching TV, and you identifying with, you're not even noticing the difference in color yet as far as races. All you see is superheroes, and you might say, well, yeah, man, I want to fly one day, or yeah, I'll be the hero, and your imagination runs wild as a child. As he got older, you hit high school, you start noticing certain things, and you notice the way you're being talked to and treated versus someone else that's a different shade. Then he goes into the military. Within that military, he's learning, yeah, man, I like the military. I like the job. I like the fact that I'm defending my country. I like the fact that I'm a veteran. I love those facts. But I don't like the politics and the racism. But do I go along to get along? And how do I fight this? Do others feel the same way I feel? Example, he shared a story with me about when he was in Panama. And he said, Cole, I'm going to tell you, Cole, there's some beautiful women in Panama. Cole, there's some beautiful women in Panama. That's what he would tell me. I'm like, yeah, man, straight up, tell me about it. We went down in Panama, right? And he was like, man, we was in Panama, right? And I gotta say, telling a story, meaning giving a visual of creating a dialogue to explain a situation in the scene. Oh man, son would tell you the date. He'd tell you what it looked like. He'd tell you the surroundings. You know what I mean? Sean would tell you every intricate detail so you get a visual as though you were actually there. Now that's Sean Taylor. Okay, so he was like, yeah, man, we were in Panama. And first, we had dummy rounds, man. We wasn't locked and loaded. We didn't have any bullets. we were just, around there, just patrolling, going out on duty or whatever. And he said that the Panama Defense League or the P something, anyway, whatever they call the Panama Defense Force, would always harass the American soldiers, and the American soldiers had orders not to fight back. So they took a lot of abuse. He said, man, they'd ride up to the front of the base and wherever they stationed at in Panama and harass them and shoot up in the air and just try to intimidate the American soldiers, right? And he said, but as soon as the first sergeant gave the order to lock and load, and when the command came down to engage, he said that's when everything changed. He said, man, they thought that they was dealing with the same soldiers, American soldiers, that they were dealing with prior to the command to engage, lock, and load. They thought that the American soldier was afraid of them. They didn't realize they just hadn't got the orders yet to deal with them. He said he noticed something, though. He said, man, when they gave the command to lock and load, he said them white boys went crazy. So they locked and loaded, and they was on them Panamanians. They was on their ass, just shooting and killing, raping women, baby mulattoes. He said, man, a lot of them Panamanians that you see, and a lot of the mulattoes and the light skin, he said that's when we was down there, and them white soldiers was raping them sisters. And he say it messed him, it messed with him. He told me. He said, man, knowing that under the orders to, he couldn't, who could he go to? He said it throwed him off. Seeing that, dealing with that, it hurt his heart. Soldiers that he thought he was cool with, that he wouldn't imagine that they do something like that, and to that degree. So back to America. Later on in his career, he was telling me how he joined the police department. And he was telling me, man, how brothers don't stand a chance, man. So these young black dudes, they don't know what they up against. He was telling me how they wanted him to just write tickets and do things that he knew wasn't right, but he trying to think about this. Here go a person who loves the idea of being upright, don't mind being the hero to come to help aid to his fellow man or fellow woman, to be a pillar or a post to lean on. Sean was the type, he risked it all. Let's just go get the job done, and if it's for right, I'll stand on right. Right? Okay. So it's messing him up, like, how can people in top positions, or how can what is going on to his vision of the way he believed and thought that the way things should be, the order, the way you keep the order, how you go about presenting the order, how do you maintain order, and the players who are the keepers of order. If they are corrupt, it's like you will shatter a person's mind with their corruptness. And so the upright person who has suggestions and, hey, well, why we got to do, and then the racism, think about it. If you're a black man on a police force, and they want you to harass, brandish your firearm against other young black men who you know, black like you, grew up like you, that don't deserve it. But to prove you in, you have to humiliate them. And that'll mess you up. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm saying this to say that, wow, man, as a black man, see, as a black man growing up in America, right, people will say, you always talking about slavery and Africa and so and so. And I always remind them, the Jews never stopped talking about the Holocaust, what happened in 9/11, September of 9/11. They'll never stop talking about that. The reason why we talk about it is because the issues and the problems haven't been solved yet. We still suffering from the same oppression and mindset that was orchestrated against us since slavery. White folks haven't done anything to heal what their forefathers purposely put upon black people. Haven't done the work to end it, right? Okay. Now they wash their hands and say, well, it's up to the individual to heal. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why get in the way? Why be a burden? Why, if I say, hold on, let me go handle this, let me talk to my brother peacefully and see what's going on and treat him like a human being, but yet you gonna come with your sirens flashing real loud, create a scene, hit the brakes on your car, cause the skirt sound, jump out with your pistol, pointing it around, looking crazy, and you saying you here to help. That's, come on, man. You know what I mean? And it's like, damn, does he think we're idiots or something? What the hell? Are we crazy? I mean, what? We see all of this. We looking like, man, what the hell are you doing? And then his theology is black male, pants sagging, scary looking, mean and aggressive. That's the stereotype that's being portrayed in all the movies and in all the rap songs and so on. So he's saying, I got a liable threat, a viable threat. Excuse me. I got a viable threat. Well, what makes the threat viable? Because look, pants sagging. Okay. He's looking mean, right? Okay. He's a black male, right? Yeah, okay. He's standing on the corner, right? Okay. Well, in all the movies, the enemy, he look like the enemy. In all the rap songs, on the cutout, busted caps on, so does he fit the profile? It's like, man, it's just entertainment. That's just entertainment. I don't know, man. But on the mind of a soul, like Sean Taylor, like, it just, that weighed heavy, man. That weighed heavy on Sean. I mean, that weighed heavy on him. What he saw in Panama and the experiences he had on the police department weighed heavy on him. But, may Allah rest his soul. Let his friends and his family, and especially his mother, know that she gave birth to an individual who came on this planet that wanted to help people from his heart, not from ill-gotten gains or some ego, or you want people to say rah rah rah, ooh, look what. Nah, because he do it in silence. He was just a genuine. He was telling me about a white girl, who was he ran across. She was living in her car, and he took her to buy her some groceries. Took her to Walmart, bought her some groceries, got her some clothes. you know what I mean, and tried to help her out. That's just who he was. You know, oh man, the stories he told me, about, situations and certain things, and it's like, yeah, man, meaning you you wanna you wanna stand tall enough to where your head is peeking through the darkness out into the sun and out into this universe without the extra weight of gravity pressing down on your shoulders. And when I say the extra weight of gravity, the heavy weight of the gravitational pull of racism and bigotry and hatred and the constant jugs and jabs, and you want to be at peace, free to enjoy nature and life, so those sun rays can shine and bask upon your face as you look up and study the universe. World Pick Radio, we're out.